good morning, be it good afternoon, wherever it is that you're watching from at this particular juncture. I'm so excited that we could be able to dive into this lovely discussion. My name is John Mark Lukonde, and I am joined by, of course, the United Party for National Development media team editor, none other than Cosmas Chileshe. Mr. Chileshe, it's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure, John Mark, to have you on this great platform, and looking forward to a great engagement.
Indeed. And I know that we're in the political year, okay? A year that is already heated. You could feel the political tension. It's palpable. And I can't wait to dive into issues to do with, of course, the Constitution Amendment. Now, of course, we are talking about Act 13, which was Bill 7 not so long ago. And trust me, you don't want to miss today's conversation. So make sure that you send the link to a couple of friends, and of course, drop a comment in the comment section. We want to get your perspective about, of course, Act 13. We'll touch also on what happened recently in Choma, and that has also stirred the political arena as well. We know what the president had mentioned, and also what Conerlius had also mentioned. We'll be able to dive into that. So just a reminder that even later on, I'll be able to have the one and only director of directors, as I call him, the one and only Frank Sibuku, Mpali. So you'll be able to get to conversations with him, and also another individual who is going to spice up the show. Yes, we want to feed those of you who want that knowledge in terms of politics, but also just give you a snippet of what to expect this year in terms of the entertainment industry as well. So it's a packed show. Make sure that you drop a comment. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share the link. That said, Mr. Chileshe, let's dive straight into the elephant in the room. I know, of course, the issue of Act 13 is very hot and on the table right now. But we remember what has also been trending this week. Of course, the likes of Archbishop Alec Banda. Apart from that, also, we've also seen that the president went in Choma. The rally was well attended, I must admit. You could see that UPND still has the numbers, as you also say, as the party. But statements were passed that caught a number of people's attention. Before we can get to Conerlius mweetwa, let's follow the order of authority, if you will. The president did say something that has stirred a lot of criticism. He mentioned that there are people from a particular region who used to border bus, Choma, border bus. And then when they get to the bus station, intercity, when they get there, they used to be harassed because of where they are coming from. And a number of individuals, for example, Harry Kalaba, like I have mentioned, have stated that the president should not have said that. That is almost as if he's inciting. Others will say he's opening up old wounds. We need to heal. We need to move on from there. With a person of that particular standing, the moment you begin to pass those statements, you are painting a picture of tribalism. I want to get your reaction first and foremost to the statement, and then we can get to the reactions from the opposition.
Yeah, thank you very much, John Mark. First of all, we need to appreciate that 2026 is a defining year. It's a defining moment, and quite changing in terms of changing the entire political landscape, the reflection of the new dawn administration comes to reality with the way Bill number 7, now Constitution Amendment number 13 of 2025. It has changed the entire destiny of our nation, and quite significant to dwell into that. And recognizing that fact, the president, while on his working holiday in southern province, Choma, had to hold his first public rally for the year, which in my view opens up to great engagements for the year, being an election year. And he addressed that aspect. But the most important thing that we get from his address, he had 5 things to talk about. And much of these 5 things, they anchored on love, on care, and forming a passion to save this nation. So whatever the opposition would like to twist the narrative from a very important engagement, the president had to demonstrate how inclusive the Upnd has rolled out, for instance, with regards to appointments across the board. So, but before we look at appointments that demonstrates inclusiveness, the foundation of what the president was saying in Choma is that because of the love and the passion that we have and the care for the Zambian people, that is what has been the driving force of the Upnd administration policy shift. When you talk of free education, it's because of the love that the president has for Zambians. It's because of the care that government has to implement policies such as social cash transfer, cash for work program. So you see the Upnd being poor, people-centered in terms of development, and primarily the agenda for the party is to deliver on the economic mandate of our country.
I know that, Mr. Chileshe, I know that.
I'm coming to the issue which is so-called the elephant
let's go
in the
there.
room, because I wanted to create this environment under which that statement
Was uttered. All right.
Because of the love, the passion, and the care that the president has for the Zambians, he wouldn't want us to get back to what used to happen.
Okay, Mr. Chileshe, let's not run away from the issue. I know you are quick to talk about free education policy. I know that you're quick to talk about how government has been able to pay the retirees. I know you'll be quick to talk about the solar power plants, the numerous solar power plants, what you've done for Mamba Collieries, increasing the megawatts from 300 to 600, what you've done for the councillors, increasing their salary allocation from 3,000 to 6,000. Yes, there are progressive aspects, but the issue of the president stating that this used to happen where people from Choma used to get on a bus, get to perhaps in the city, and they were harassed. Do we have proof of that, yes or no?
Yeah, we live in these communities. We have seen such ridicule of people coming from a certain particular region, even as closest as Mumbwa here. You see somebody walking into town, into Cairo Road corridors at Chimumbwa Mumbwa. So that is the background. The president was trying to say that we should love one another. Let's conquer hatred with love. Never should we go back to an era where that becomes the order of the day.
But others are saying, by the president mentioning that, he's simply opening up old wounds. Why refer to the past? People need to move on.
You see, a nation without a sense of history will not appreciate the achievements that it has gained. We cannot run away from the facts, and we can't bury what was there. And when we see that there is change, there is the return to civility in the manner that politics is being conducted. When we see that there is an end to cadreism in bus stations, marketplaces, when we see a peaceful Chawama by-election, mind you, the culture of the Panga family, politics of machetes hacking one another emanated from the same Chawama constituency. That's where it started from. If your memory is active to understand politics of that constituency. But what are we seeing under the UPND? We have a peaceful campaign going on in Chawama, and I think this speaks to the values of what we should embrace in our politics. And it is against such a background, because previously, even wearing a Manchester jersey, you were taken for UPND and you can't go with a red shirt.
Just a Man U jersey on its own.
Yes. You are mistaken to be a UPND cadre. These things used to happen. So why should we cast a blind eye to a culture that we lived with? But the principle under which the president was trying to preach to the nation is to preach a message of love. So why should the opposition miss that message? In my language, we say, "Vasenda pofechush, vasho mulilo." Mulilo walipo wakwabati, we should love one another. Let's not get back to an era where even going to intercity was a crime. So why should they turn around and twist things? And see, this is where it pains us, even as the ruling party. We seem not to have credible opposition to offer checks and balances.
You know, editor. Sometimes when you criticize, you have to look at it from their perspective as well. I get to your point. It's like, for example, referring to history. History, they say you can only move forward by looking back. Even the Christians will tell you, we look back at the life of Jesus Christ in order to move back. Even those who are from the Muslim community will refer to Allah and the Quran and whatnot. But this, picture this, hypothetically speaking. Imagine Cyril Ramaphosa goes to the UN General Convention or any UN meeting, and then he stands on the podium and then he begins to say, quite all right, we appreciate what other foreign countries have done, but I want to tabulate what happened in apartheid. The moment he begins to go down that particular route, with the audience he has, yes, it happened. Did it happen? Yes. Is that part of history? Yes. Were people hurt? Yes. Did people die? Yes. Slave trade happened, we know. But the platform he has brought that issue out is wrong. Do you feel that the president should have perhaps picked a different platform to issue those statements?
We are just misinterpreting statements here. And time should come when we should look at critical issues that we have achieved. The opposition would like to create a certain narrative, and primarily abusing the function of media. One of the functions of media is agenda setting. So they would like to abuse the media by setting an agenda that totally wants to sway the nation from what we should focus on. So the main message from the Choma rally was to preach love, that we should not use hatred to advance our cause, but we should conquer hatred with love and with care. That was the message. So they are operating on a principle of Satan.
Operating on a principle of Satan?
Of Satan, yes.
Don't you think that's a strong statement to pass?
No, I will justify it. You see, it's like the devil coming to Jesus. Throw yourself down. He has said that he will send his angels to... That's exactly what the opposition are. They are using the principle of Satan to advance their political agenda.
Are you saying that the opposition operate consistently under this principle?
It's a principle of rebellion, yes.
Are you saying, not just on this instant, but that's how they operate?
It's a principle of rebellion. They are into rebellion.
Rebellion from who or to who? Do you want them to do you want them to consistently acknowledge what the UPND are saying, what the UPND government is doing?
No. That's not
the opposition are supposed to offer checks and balances. It's not everything they should clap and acknowledge.
And what sort of checks and balance with regards to the issue you are making reference to? Because the principal message from what the president was saying, we should love one another. Let's not behave in the manner that was there. And basically, those are the values he has brought into the governance system of the country. And we want to appreciate the leadership that the president continues to provide over this nation. The international recognition he's receiving is not by accident.
From the Telegraph newspapers.
And that's not the only institution that is giving him credit. We've got regional leaders that have spoken to the same fact. Let us not advance an agenda of a nation that does not honor its own prophets.
I know that we have to move on to Act number 13, but very quickly, Conerlius Mweetwa also went on to pass a very strong statement referring to some of the Patriotic Front leaders as hyenas. You are, apart from just being in the UPND, we're talking offset, you are a man who believes in God and you go to church and you pray. Do you feel that statement was appropriate?
These are figurative speeches that are said without necessarily implying that people are hyenas. You see, it's in the manner with which they presided over leadership, where in other terms you can say maybe they behaved like, for lack of a better term, if I was in his shoes, I would have said they behaved like a monkey over a maize field in running this government.
They behaved like a monkey over a maize field. Aren't you
field.
now just adding fuel to the fire?
I mean, that is why this government has gone to the extent of asset and forfeitures of money that was stolen. Haven't you read of somebody going to a foreign country, he transfers money from Zambia to another country and then goes to withdraws it from there, he comes back, buys helicopter, buys houses. Is that not behaving like a monkey over a maize field? That's why they are in prison. I'm speaking to cases.
The opposition.
I'm speaking to cases
that
even our
Brian
courts,
Mundubile. Imagine if Brian Mundubile passed a statement. Over. Imagine if Brian Mundubile passed that same statement and attached the names of President Hakainde Hichilema, attached the names of Vice President Mtale Nalmango, her honor. What do you think the reaction of the UPND would have been?
The point is that this is figurative.
So if even the opposition can pass the same statement,
it does not mean there's any defamation.
Have we come to a place in this country
where
have we come to a place in this country where we are just going to continue to name call, like you've mentioned? Because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, the UPND has done so much. The UPND has done so much in terms of the energy sector. I've tabulated what you've done for Mamba Collieries, increasing the megawatts, what the president has done in terms of the road networks, the Lusaka Ndola Dual Carriageway. He doesn't even have to go down that particular route. Just begin to tabulate and let the work speak for you. Why name call?
Again, such political language on campaigns will be there. Okay?
So you're guaranteeing the people?
It's just to spice up the political language. Somebody will say his mouth and brain do not coordinate. So politicians have had their own language to campaign and water down their opponents. So we can use those statements like I would do tribal cousinship maybe with my Eastern politician as eating in Beba Kosu. Huh?
So now the tribal cousinship will spread. That's what you're saying.
Those things are there. we live in that kind of a culture and we cannot make it as an issue.
Okay. I know time is not with us, but you've heard it for yourself. In the past, we used to hear people referring to Mwanawasa as cabbage. It's in public domain, okay? We've heard of even the former president, Sata, being referred to as King Cobra. And now, you've heard it for yourself from the UPND media team editor that should expect it come 2026. So don't be surprised. But I know that we will
see even police officers have their own language.
I know that we have got another issue we have to address.
When you hear on radio, you hear somebody saying he behaved like a buffalo.
I know we have another issue that we have to address. We'll tackle this issue
So you
perhaps
can name these
next time
animals
as well.
to
So
depict the
leave
character
a
of somebody.
message in the comment section in reaction to what he has been able to mention. But we also have to talk about Act
Yes.
number 13, of course, which was formerly referred to as Bill 7. The president did categorically mention about nine days ago that there's need for sensitization. We need to now drift away from debating around it, but we need to talk about the clauses, clause by clause, because there's a lot of ignorance out there. We need to bridge the knowledge gap. And that is what we want to dive into very, very quickly before we can dive into conversations with Mpali editor Frank Sibuku. Let's begin with the process, okay? Because I think others will tell you the process validates the outcome, okay? I still remember that Princess Kasuni went into parliament and she passed a statement that caught a number of ears. And I remember a number of people in the tabloids, also a number of headlines in the tabloids caught so many people unaware, and eyebrows were raised, saying that there's going to be a draft of the constitution amendment. And later on we did hear that that was not the case. Issues of communication between the party has also been shambles, if you ask me, under the Upnd. Others refuted that that was not going to be the case. But eventually we heard that it was going to be the case. And then eventually, after the draft discussions began, 14 CSOs, I beg your pardon, 14 CSOs refuted and said there is need for wider consultations. And then the courts came in and gave that particular directive to say, yes, we need to go down the route of wider consultations. And I vividly remember the consultations were in threefold. And even these things that are basic, majority don't even know, but I just have to tabulate it so that my uncle in Sinda can understand. My grandma in Shivinavuli can also understand. In Solwezi, in Kaputa, can also follow through as well. It's very important. There were three aspects that were brought into the conversation. One, it was going to be wider consultations online. There was an online platform. There was also a suggestion box, apart from the physical meetings that were held in various districts across the country as well. Let's begin with the aspect of the three modes or types of consultations: the online, the suggestion box, and the physical meetings. Physical meetings, I think there's no debate about that. We saw how it actually went round. We heard submissions coming through. But people were questioning to say, suggestion box? Because even in schools, we used to have suggestion box. But at the end of the day, people would drop suggestions in there, and it would be like PR. It's like you are trying to show people that you are trying to listen, but at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. Was the suggestion box necessary?
First of all, it's important to put matters in context. Beg your pardon. The Constitution provides for its own alteration when you talk about the process. Whether a suggestion box or whatever method you apply to get views from members of the public. What is important is to understand that the Constitution provides for its own alteration, and in this case, the executive being given the duty, the mandate to initiate a bill before Parliament. We have put this debate behind, but it's just important to put matters in context that what was happening was not a constitutional making. What was happening was just a constitutional amendment. And when you are amending the Constitution, save for Part 3, which touches on the Bill of Rights that would require a referendum to be conducted. With regards to amendment on non-contentious issues, you may wish to recall that members of Parliament themselves had agreed, and I think it's Honorable J.J. Banda who even wrote a letter to the Speaker with regards to the need to amend the Constitution. And the power to amend the Constitution is with the legislature, National Assembly, while the executive initiate the bill. So the bill was initiated. The civil society you have made reference to, they said, no, we need to have an input into the same. So they had a meeting with the president. The president listened to their consent. So the bill which was before Parliament was deferred to allow for wider consultation, and that saw the constitution of the technical committee. That also gave an input to the document. But what is important is for members of the public to understand is that the executive are acting on the delegated authority. In the same manner, members of parliament who act on the delegated authority from constituency members for them to enact and amend laws. And the timing of doing this has to be within the period that parliament is sitting, and that is from the time MPs are sworn in to the time that parliament dissolves. Any period, whether there's a by-election or an election coming, provided parliament is still sitting, so the period of amendment can go through. So the process was followed, and further checks and balances were done through various parliamentary stages that the bill went through to a point where now it was passed into law, and the president has now assented to that law. So we do have Constitutional Amendment Act number 13 of 2025 now changing the political landscape of this country, and it's important for this sort of discussion in line with what the president said, that there's need to create awareness, because ignorance of law is no defense. So it's important that political players and other civil society organizations, the media included, to help create awareness and sensitize various stakeholders so that we can align ourselves to the changes that have come up with. But this is all what the president was again trying to emphasize, that because of the love, because of the care and the passion to deliver to the citizens, Bill number 7 had to be enacted so that we can have an inclusive government, so that we can have more women having a voice in parliament, so that we can have youths who are in majority in terms of population also can have a voice. The disabled as well, who may not have the ability to be subjected to the gruesomeness of these campaigns, also can have a voice being represented. This is a new dawn government that is inclusive, that seeks to ensure that there is fair representation to the population, that seeks to see that there is distribution of resources being sent to all the regions equally, whether they voted for this administration or not. Each of the constituency across the country is receiving the increased CDF, which is sitting at 40 million kwacha, without segregating that these belong to, no. This is an inclusive government that seeks to bring everyone else on board. This is what I can say, that this is the Zambia that we wanted. This is the Zambia that we want.
Now, I know that, of course, this is just the first edition, and we'll have more time to be able to dissect each and every clause. But let's also talk about the aspect of the addition of appointed members of parliament, of course, appointed by the president. That on its own has raised so much dust, all right? I don't think there's some clauses that even from the opposition, even from the 14 CSOs, they will tell you that it's not everything about Act number 13 now that they refuted when it was Bill number 7 then. Things like delimitation, all right? Things like delimitation. We've even had traditional leaders come on board talking about it. Even the students have come on board to talk about even the inclusion of young people in the National Assembly. You've talked about the persons who are marginalized, the persons living with disabilities, as they're also referred to or were referred to as well. So those are not necessarily contentious, but the addition of members of parliament that are going to be appointed by the president, the question has come out to say, already we have a national budget. Mr. Chileshe, editor, we have a national budget that is strained, a national budget that is also dependent on foreign aid. Let me finish. A national budget that is dependent on foreign aid. We have already increased CDF allocation from the national budget as well. And there are a number of things that need proper allocation. But with the inclusion of these members of parliament, where is the money going to come from? Let me finish. My question is about threefold. Where is the money going to come from concerning that? The House, people are talking about the National Assembly, saying, is there provision for the National Assembly? Works are they going to be able to begin? This is something that when this thing came on board, it was a challenge concerning that. Where their offices going to be, where are we going to get the money to even build the offices on a national treasury that is already strained?
Yeah, you've said so many things, and it's important again to put matters in context. We need to understand that Bali has brought more money into this economy. Previously, they thought even the increase of this CDF would not be possible. But because of the economic management, and sincerely speaking, when I look at the kind of leadership that we have, maybe we needed, God always save the best for moments like this in terms of leadership. And in all honesty and with due respect to all the presidents we've had, there's yet to be risen one that will be greater than the president we have. And the problem we are going to have in future is that he has raised the bar to a level that the shoes now are too big for anybody to fit into the standard of leadership President Hakainde Hichilema has brought over this nation because of how he has transformed this economy. Today, Zambia is a case study. I will not be surprised even in high universities of the world if they will get Zambia as a case study, first of all, of how to transform an economy that was heavily debt-ridden, having over 95% successful debt restructuring, because if we didn't have a successful debt restructuring, everything we are talking about would have been going, because it was a drain, it was a python that was left around our administration. So the coming of HH into office was for such a time as this, that we recovered that economy which was dead. If we talk of sector by sector, time will not permit me. We are talking about the constitution. So there is money. Look at the investment. Look at how the kwacha. Look at how we are diversifying even with our foreign reserves.
When you're done beating about the bush, my question still remains.
The money is there. That's what I'm saying. Because Bali has fixed this economy. This budget, it's the first time we are having a budget that is 80% locally financed, because ZRA has been efficient in collecting money for the treasury. This is not a budget which is funded by foreign entities. Over 80% is locally financed because money has come into the economy. So that should not be the worry. The cost of democracy, we are equal to the cost of democracy. The issue of delimitation has to align with fair representation. So from 126 constituency-based seats have now risen to 226, plus 40 that will come under the mixed representation system based on presidential votes that will come from participating political parties to determine how much each one contributes to the 20 for women, 15 for the youths, and 5 for the disabled. And obviously, if we are using the presidential vote as a threshold to determine how much each of the participating political parties contribute, already we know for you to win the election as president it must be 50 plus 1. So definitely 10 has to come from the party that wins. And it's an equal opportunity for every political party participating. Not that it will benefit the Upnd. Each political party participating has an equal chance, and that is why when they're submitting names, they'll submit a list of 20 for the women. They'll submit a full list of 15 because everyone is expecting to win.
Before we wrap up the conversation, I want to cite the Constitution, the newly amended Constitution, of course, number 13 of 2025, of course, page 179, where it says, where a candidate sponsored by a political party dies before the date prescribed for the holding of an election, the Electoral Commission of Zambia shall cancel the election and call for the filing of a fresh nomination by the political party whose candidate died, and the election shall be held within 30 days of filing of the fresh nomination. Let's talk about the aspect of nomination as opposed to election as well, because this is where there's a lot of misinformation running around. So care to shed more light in terms of what this actually does mean? Does it mean that by-elections moving forward will be halted and then we'll be able to have internal elections for the political parties so that they could be able to replace perhaps an individual who died or maybe comes out of the race in a sense?
Okay, the issue is that we are going to create political instability, constitutional crisis, if we did not amend the Constitution with regards to Article 52 that provides for nomination. And in this case, previously the case was that if you withdraw from your nomination, okay, a day before the general election, that election cannot proceed. It is mandated to do what? To cancel. And that was going to create anarchy. This is the portion which has cured that lacuna. So what is happening is that when a candidate resigns from a political party or from the nomination, the elections will not be cancelled, they will proceed. If you are disqualified by a court order, it is discovered that after nomination you were not eligible because you just recently registered, and the voters register they are using is that of 2021 because the current one has not been certified, then the court will disqualify you. So it will not affect the holding of that election. This Constitution says election will proceed.
By-elections will proceed, or general elections? Both by-elections or general elections?
We are talking of both at parliamentary as well as presidential. But when it comes to death, at a parliamentary level, the clause you are quoting, the Constitution is providing sanctity to this an eventuality arising from death. You can't just say proceed. The Constitution has become so human to give ECZ permission to cancel such an election and to call for fresh elections because of death. whereas issue to do with disqualification, either by a court order or any of the requirements not being met, or a candidate withdrawing or resigning, it will not affect. But when it comes to death, it will affect the holding of this particular by-election or election. So that is how the issue of Article 52 with regards to candidates withdrawing after nomination have been done in an election. So we have created some kind of stability where you are going into an election, you are able to predict that this is how it is going to. Otherwise, previously, if you have sponsored candidates and all of them are withdrawing, that is why the president was saying that the constitution in its current stage can give a life president. Because every time when elections have to be, and it does not indicate how many times you can withdraw, you can just be withdrawing as many times as you. So those were the lacunas that Constitution Amendment Act number 13 of 2025 has provided. My only prayer is that evil people should not abuse this clause by killing each other or hating each other.
I was going to go down that particular route, but we'll leave that conversation for another day. UPND,
you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you mean, because in that case, people can simply be able to do that or harm each other so that the process can go on in their favor. But time does not allow for us to dive into that conversation. Like I did mention, it's just the first edition, so make sure that you join us next week. We'll be able to have, of course, discussions further on, of course, Act number 13. And I think there's need, like the president did mention, there's need to now accept the fact that it is now law. We cannot run away from it. But now we have to understand what does it really mean moving forward, so that you are also abreast with current affairs. I know people, sometimes I listen to people in the streets and they say, in Nevama politics, trust me, you need to follow this because your children's children will have to at least adhere to this as well, apart from you. On the other side, we'll dive into conversations, escalate discussions, at least on a lighter note, because we have with us the Mpali director, Frank Sivuku. I can't wait to dive into that conversation. It's been a pleasure having UPND Media team, editor, none other than Cosmas Chileshe. Kudos to, of course, the likes of Maximue and the team for allowing, of course, your colleague to be able to even join the conversation. We'll meet on the other side. So I literally had to take off my jacket because at least the conversation we're about to dive into isn't as tense as it normally would be. You know how politics are. With politics, and that's why for me, for those of you who follow me, I host sports shows. I also love entertainment, and that's the beauty of media. You can be diverse, if you will, and that's why I had to take off my jacket, because I just want to enjoy myself, because I'm in the presence of greatness, literally. Of course, beginning with the Mpali director, commonly known. Of course, we know that Mpali, first and foremost, is just a household name. When I say household name, we need to understand this. For those of you who have not traveled outside the country, you don't understand how big Mpali is. I remember going to Malawi and people are telling me they watch Mpali. I said, what? You understand? Then I realized there are a number of individuals who speak Chichewa and whatnot. So trust me, Mpali has got so much coverage and also has won awards on the continent, and we have to appreciate our own. As Africans, unfortunately, we haven't grown to that level where we appreciate our own. I always say it's important to appreciate people before we lay them to rest. Give them their flowers while they're still alive. And I want to do mine today. Frank Sivuku, it's a pleasure to have you.
Well, I'm excited, Mark, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And of course, we have with us Jerome Mumba, of course, the producer now. How are we doing?
Still getting used to that term.
Yeah, still getting used to it, huh?
Yeah, so, I'm good, thanks, and glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. It's a pleasure to have the both of you, and might I add, I'm a fan. So forgive me if I'm a bit too excited, but I'm a fan. So bear with me. I'll begin with Mr. Sibuku.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, for those who have followed Mpali for so long, they expect someone who's outspoken behind the scenes. But for those of us who know you, you're very, very calm and very, very cool and collected. How do you manage to ensure that you balance your personality with your line of work? Because there are times when you have to ensure that the likes of Shupiwe are coming out in a certain way.
Well, for me, I think it's just in me. Like in terms of production, it's internal. And also, I would like to. Usually, my style of production is that I make friends first.
You make friends first?
Yes, I make friends first. All of my cast members are friends, and my crew members are all friends. So that becomes a bit more easy for me to now get them into the vision and say, this is what we need to deliver, this is what we need to do. Storytelling is not it's not all about being rigid, and of course there are certain directors that are quite very tense on set. I always want my team to be free with me. I always want my team member, like even the camera person, I want that suggestion, you know. I usually have a lighting guy said, directors, maybe Pajatish Teko so.
So you even get to listen from the lighting, the camera person?
Yes, they have brilliant ideas.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think I'm open to everyone on set. And there are times where people, like we usually have visitors and they come and they're looking for the boss and said, well, who is the boss? And they're looking, they're actually asking me.
They're asking
like,
the boss.
Who is running this? Said I'm over here, so that I mix with people. I mix with the team members. So I don't see boundaries when it comes to creativity.
Where did you get that mentality from? Because in the African context,
Yeah.
the boss is the boss. You cannot, for you to be even able to meet the boss, you have to meet three receptionists, just to get to engage with them.
Yes.
But where did you get this mentality of trying by all means to mingle with everyone, be it those on set, be it those behind the set, those who are handling the storyboard, those who are behind the scenes, basically?
I don't think it's actually necessary, because I usually get that a lot from people saying, why don't you create, like why don't you segregate yourself from
Yes.
I'm a creative guy. I'm into like a creative space.
Wow.
I need to tap all the conversation that I usually have with my team members. I tap something from them.
Every ounce
because
of
I have
information.
to tell stories on a daily basis.
Beautiful.
I have to collect as much. If you want to do a film and you want tags, like lines that make people laugh, and you are just, closed up, and you are not opening up to people. You don't know how people engage. You don't know. You can't tap from, because you are so closed up. So I'm actually very open to people, and simply because I want to get something out of conversation. I want to see what makes them laugh, what makes them sad, and that's why the film is quite emotional, because certain elements actually got them from just conversation I usually have with other people. Yes.
Wonderful. But I know that you've been able to, because of the position that you have, the status that you have, you've been interviewed by a number of people. So I want to take a different route as opposed to what people are accustomed to. Let's talk about the challenges that you have faced. And I hope that you literally hit the nail on its head because of the nature of the show.
Yes.
Tell us about the challenges of being behind the scenes, directing people who have got, first and foremost, different personalities, people who also expect you to be someone who is going to be fair to all of them, but at the same time, you also have sponsors who are very demanding.
Yes.
So how do you manage to address those challenges, but beginning with the challenges themselves?
Okay, I'll put it in this way. For example, Mpali needs to be delivered on certain days. You can't miss the delivery days. because it's a very, very tight schedule. Then on set, you have different characters that you really want to make all these characters understand that this has to be delivered whether we like it or not.
True.
Because there's a contract behind that. And also, there are children, the people get sick most of the times. People get sick, and the behavior, the managing the talent, it's very, very difficult if you only stick to, because at the end of the day, it's not only about the contract. You have to understand the human side of the team members also, the talent, because if you don't understand, you get to a point where I can't do this anymore because you are too. So you have to make sure that you have stones, but at the end of the day, you need water out of the stones.
Wow.
So there is a way that you nurture the process. I think I'm always I'm quite good at nurturing the process. If I'm working with children, I become a child. Yes. If I'm working with like a father like Banguzu, I have to be very matured, because I have to be sensitive with what I say. Not at any point should I insult this man. Even if we are panicking, even if in a most tough situation, I have to make sure that I respect him throughout the production. And that's why when you finish the production, you still be in very, very, very good space with your team members. So for me, I respect the King contract first from the client.
Okay.
Then after you receive what the client wants, then you start now checking your team members who is available for this production. How do I adjust myself to meet their expectations, and how do I work with them? How, if I say pick up that my tripod, get that thing, guys, 10. How do they get engaged? How are they going to move very fast? I can tell you that the light was made by just few people, very few, by a team of five people, but it's a brilliant production. So how we multitask to just move around and make something out of nothing. So I guess it's that charm that makes things move very well.
Frank, I know that of course we'll be able to dive into the light as well,
yes.
and what you're working over this year. But I also want to get Jerome's perspective as
yes.
well. An individual who has been on set with you,
yes.
an individual who is also now a producer. But let's go back to the early days. How did you realize that you had a passion for even film in the first place?
There were days when I would watch a character on TV and I would start acting like them after I watch it.
Just after watching?
After watching it, I try to act like Spider-Man, way back. Try to speak like Spider-Man. So that's when I realized I really wanted to be an actor. That was way back. So I had to join a drama group at Lotus Primary School. That's where I started. That was in 2008, 2009. That's when I started acting. So I did stage first before I transitioned into film. That was in 2017 when I transitioned into film. And my first project was a Moye. And then 2019, when I met Mr. Sabuku, we did a production, Vinzi.
Yep.
Yes, and we did it. Stuff happened. Then it didn't come out. Unfortunately, it's there somewhere.
But it didn't come out.
It's not. It's complete. It's
Okay.
complete. So I think
complete,
he's
yes.
just taking his time. I think he's taking his time.
But it will come out?
He's the right person.
Yeah, that production was a very good production.
Okay.
It was a very good movie. I think we had at some point we released a trailer,
yeah.
and everybody was excited. But unfortunately, the worst happened. Yeah, so thieves broke into one of the vehicles and got the hard drives.
Oh no.
So what we were left with was just a very, very, very low-res footage that we can't distribute.
And Jerome, for you, you've finally met Frank Sibuku. You finally met that connection who was going to at least propel you to the next level.
I didn't know that.
And then you get to, yes, you didn't know that, but you get to a place where you hear that this incident has taken place. Tell me about how you felt in that moment.
It was, I think, the time when he lost the footage, the hard drives. It was a very bad space for him. It was a very, just the same period was a very bad period for him. So it wasn't more about just the hard drives, it was more about him as a person. So it did not really occur to me that, oh, he lost a hard drive that had a movie that I starred in, the first one, but it was more about how is he feeling as a person, because things kept on mounting.
So you did not just think about yourself, but you
it
thought of
was
the repercussion.
Yeah, the repercussion of
the
everything.
bigger picture.
Yeah, so I kind of started understanding or trying to understand how he's feeling, trying to put myself in his shoes, because it wasn't just one hard drive, it was quite a number of them. And everything, you know, he's a producer, so he has a lot of stuff that he has released, about to release, and maybe he has deadlines. And also mounting on the things that the personal stuff that he was going through. So for me, it kind of felt like he just needed time. Yeah. And I think he's bouncing back slowly.
Apart from that particular challenge, tell us also about how difficult it has been for you to be able to even ascend in the film industry.
Like you said, the title that you said, as a producer, which is still in quotes, as a producer, I think, like what he was talking about right now, I was kind of learning certain things. You know, when you're dealing with kids, you have to be a kid.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with adults, you have to be an adult and be mature enough not to provoke them, you know, because you need them on set again. And I shot I'm still in process. I'm still shooting, but I had to get a friend of mine from Kenya where she's on Netflix and Hulu and everything. So I had a conversation with her, and I told her, I want you to be part of something that I'm doing. And I wrote the production way back in 2022. So I told her, and she said she would be coming through. So I had Basali Media who helped, and I told them we were having a conversation. They said, oh, sure, we can do something. There's the CEO, Veronica Hachipopo, she actually helped tremendously. And I had a conversation with Mr. Sibukozo, and he told me to go ahead. He was like, this is what we need. We can't just always, because, I mean, he's growing. You know, he's getting to that point where he's not going to be the one moving up and down. He has to be the one just saying, okay, do that, do this, you know, from the comfort of his home. So I think I might say we want to take up the space that he is in when he moves to a different level, you know. And it hasn't been very easy, and he knows, because I've been telling him every single time.
To try to fill the shoes.
Yeah, I've been telling him how hard it has been for me to just work on this project. It's just been like about 20 days, but it's been the worst 20 days of my life. And now imagine him who's been working for over, I don't know, 10 years.
Yes.
You know, so I feel like I'm getting a hang of it, and so far I would say not so good, because I'm still learning and I'm still getting headaches, but with what I have, I feel like I'm enjoying this more than acting itself.
I can say
Please,
this,
please.
you know, producing is not, if there's a very tough job is in production, is producing. Producing is the most, I would say, it's actually very dangerous. Like when you decide to be a producer, you have to be ready. At time, for me, I was hospitalized how many times? 3 times. 3 times, like in a hospital, with drip.
Because of the line of work.
Yes, the pressure. So it gets to that stage. It gets to a level where you can't understand why things are not working out, you know? So you really, like the people that are coming up with producing, I can't lie. There are other things that I can tell you, that it's easy to direct, it's easy to do it. Producing is the most tough job.
What makes it so tough?
What makes it so tough is that you have to make the product. You are literally making the product. You are the boss of everything. So you have to provide. And
like John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yes. So if you don't have, there are other producers that are very, very, very pushy, too much. They want this done on set. Nothing but, you know, those things.
Yeah.
They end up, most of them end up in hospital with BP. After the production, they don't even want to go back. Because for me, I started when I was with Movie TV, producing at that stage. Like we were learning, trying to see the other guys, how they were doing it. I started producing live shows. I started producing even talk shows, like live talk shows. Then I went into magazine shows. I was one of the producers for news, current affairs shows. I collected all the very little pieces that will make you, you know, like they grow you. So producing goes with time.
Yeah.
You can't wake up today and say, I want to be producer. You have to have that experience. You have to watch another producer do the job. Then that's when you can do the job.
And just to add on what he just said, I felt like I understand it in a more, when it comes to film, you have conversations with people. Like when I was working, I got stuff from my pocket, every penny that I got. And I have conversations with people and I try to promise them something. That's like, let's try to do this and we don't know what's going to come out of it. So you have people depending on you. It's like it's a pyramid and you're the one on top.
Yes.
You know, so everyone who's down there depend on you. So if you say we're not going to shoot, then they're all going to feel like they are kind of worthless or useless at some point, you know. And also the fact of dealing with people every single time.
Yes.
Because people come with different personalities.
Yeah.
Someone would come for work without even complaining about transport and anything. And you would think as if everyone would be like that, but there are people who would say, I'm not coming until you send transport. And not just Yango, you have to send someone to pick me up because I don't want to book Yango or I stay far. And the late hours that you're going to shoot, you have to be done, maybe you planned that you'll be done by 7:19 and you end up being done at 1. And now you have to start thinking, how is everyone going to go home?
Yes.
How is everyone going to be safe?
And on top of that, there's the following morning, you have to work.
we have to
Yes,
work as well, and you have to think of the sanity of people too.
And there
you
was
know?
unplanned
reshoots as well.
reshoots
You know?
and food.
And food, so
Hey,
it's
hey.
all that.
Couple that with load shedding.
All that too, you know. And so you have to think that I have someone I brought from a different country. You know, she's an amazing actress, so you have to not show them that you're kind of breaking down or everything is crumbling. So you have to
Yes.
keep your head high.
Yeah.
You know. And every time you're going to walk, every time people think as if, okay, everything is fine.
Yes.
Because when I have like him who I'd go to and I'll be like, okay, listen, you're going to be my diary now. So I will tell you this is happening. And you encourage me like, okay, now just go on. This is how it starts. you know?
And tell me about, the both of you beginning with Jerome, tell me about the people that you've surrounded yourself with. For example, at home, I know that of course Mr. Zivoko is also surrounded with a number of amazing people as well. But for you, Jerome, when you are knocking off late, when you are stressed, who else is your diary?
You know, it's kind of hard sometimes, I would say, to say I open up fully to certain people, you know. I have someone I talk to.
The producer doesn't open up.
Well, yes, you know. But there are people that I can actually have conversations with here and there, but I don't really fully open up like, oh, this is what's happening to me and everything, you know. I get home and I play games, and that's it, you know. And there's like here and there bits and pieces of what I can share, but I can't fully share everything because I feel like sometimes you become a PT party. Like everyone's going to see you and they'll be like, what now? You know, so at least you try to be strong enough, you know. But it kind of works, you know, and sometimes it does not really work.
Frank?
Well, for okay, for me, I think I have a few of them, though I'm almost closer to
Same
what you
WhatsApp
said.
group.
Yes. But since I'm looking at in terms of colleagues, I have quite a number of them that I talk to when things are bad. Yeah, because you know people might not really understand you. You feel it. You have the vision, and they see the beautiful picture from outside, but they don't know what's inside.
That's right.
Because I struggled a lot, like from the time that he actually mentioned that I was actually into a very bad space. The time that I lost my footage, and you see, I lost my brother who was directing, Mpali. So now I don't know where to start from. Then a few weeks down the line, it was actually Henry BJ who invited me for a show. He said, no, just come and lighten up. So I said, in fact, I will need to move things from PHI to the new office in Foxdale. So before I get there, so I packed all the hard drives, got them into the vehicle, and went to the Playhouse to enjoy a comedy show. So We watched the comedy show, but when I came out, I found everything was gone. 3 years of work, 8 episodes of a series about to be commissioned.
8 episodes?
8 episodes of
My
Mpingo.
God.
So I lost Mpingo, a full film movie. I think the movie I spent quite a lot also making it at post-production stage. Then I lost a lot of commercial adverts, documentaries for people, companies that were they were expecting to be submitted. So at that stage, I broke down a bit because I didn't know where to start from. And few people came through. I would talk to certain people, but I still have to maintain this smile because I have people that are looking up to me. So I can't afford them to see this broken guy who is leading them. So I don't want them to lose hope.
Sure.
So I want them to keep believing that something will come up. So if I wake up a broken guy going to work, I'm not going to do anything. And Mpali is demanding. I have to produce on a daily basis. So now I had started slowly adjusting my schedule on Mpali so that I can at least have a bit of time for myself, with myself. Like I started now engaging the younger guys to start directing. The DOPs like Titus and Hakuz, they started giving them a bit more space to kind of start coming up because I couldn't, like I go through a lot. There are so many projects that required me to deliver things and I was completely in a bad space. So I needed the younger guys to come up. And that's why even up to now, I support every team member who wants to, to come out of the box and say, let me do something extra. So, like you see, him is producing. Next time I say, Jeremy, I'm not feeling too well. Can you direct Mpali for me? He will do it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you want to nurture the next or the
Yes.
upcoming. I think, like we're talking offset, that is very, very alien to Africa, unfortunately.
Yes.
Be it in the political sphere. Political parties fail to have at least a succession plan. Go to the church as well. You find that the pastor, after he passes on, the church is in disarray.
Yes.
Even the fathers today, you find that he can have a business.
Yes.
But after the father dies, there's completely nothing. So I think we can learn lessons across the board. We need to ensure that we have a proper transition as well. I know that time is not with us. We have to wrap up.
Yes.
So beginning with Jerome, what are you working on this year? What that people should be able to look forward to as well? And just your last message for people who are followers of you as well before Frank closes the curtains.
So depending on how, the title is Doug. Doug is the title of the film that I'm working on right now. Depending on how it comes out, I might want to do something different as well. So I'm trying to have a whole different structure with my type of producing or filming. So I want to include one international actor or actress in every production that I do. So like this time I'm working with Kenya, despite it not being the one project that we wanted to do together, but there's another one that we planned. But since this one was already ready, I had to tell her to come on board and let's do an experiment. And if everything works out well, we have to do another one. But this year I want to do something different as well. So Doug is coming out this year. And then this year might start shooting something different as well.
So when you say this year, can you give us a time frame?
Time frame, I would say mid-year.
Okay.
So between April, May, June, July, August, between that time frame.
Would it be too far for me to ask the cast, at least one or two individuals?
I would say I'm in the cast.
Good.
And which
Good.
actually made it very challenging as well. I'm in the cast and I'm also helping out directing, but I would say my brother Leo Dautisum Koko is also directing.
Wow.
And Paul S. Willow is part of the people who are putting everything together.
Yes.
And Mr. Wesley Kawanga is part of it. And I would say there's a new face that we haven't seen, Moses Divine. There's a guy, he's very good. Moses Divine, he's from the theater background. He's actually the lead of the same production. And we have Sande Gatawa, Zondi Moses Mutonga, and Naluku is part of it as well. And here and there, Joe Swags and Lisi are also part of it.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the cast. It's a small cast, but most of them are just appearing once. Yeah, that's the cast. So this year, DAG, and maybe possibly I will do something else that will come out next year. So I want to start working this year to produce next year, this year to produce next year. So DAG this year, next year something else, and that other year something else, just like that.
Excellent, excellent. Frank?
Yeah, for us as A-list media, I think this is the time that we elevate the storytelling, the business. So we are coming up with very powerful films as well. We have about 3 titles coming up this year. So right now we are promoting The Light, which is currently in the cinemas. Then mid-year we'll have another one. Another film. I will wait for Jeremy. After Jeremy, then we drop another one. Then towards the end of the year, we'll have a big title also coming up. So the titles to look for is The Red Bag. The Red Bag is coming back for the 2nd time. And we have a very, very interesting film coming up, Legacy of Hope. Yeah, everybody's looking forward to see this one. It will be done at a very, very high-end production quality stage. Yeah, so we will try and do our best so that it meets that international standard, that Hollywood standard.
Yes.
So quite a lot of things coming up with A-list media, and Mpali, of course. Mpali like never seen. It's also coming up.
Like
Because
never seen.
Like never seen. You watched it for so many years, but this one is different. So we also we understand that people have seen this show for quite a long time now. So dynamics needs to change. And we are changing the dynamics in a very, very interesting way. When we hear a comment on social media saying, oh, this character is what we are working in the background. So we get those, we take note and say, let's give them something. That's why the show is still up. Still right now, it's still on TV because we work on the content all the time. So this time, the Mpali that people are going to see is a very different Mpali and far more interesting than what they've seen before.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Yes.
I genuinely have learned so much, might I add, and I think it's been a pleasure engaging with people who are behind the scenes, people who are entertaining us. I know that this is a very critical year. It's an election year, and people are so politically charged. You can feel the tension. It's palpable.
Yes.
So it's very, very important that individuals like you who have got a platform to at least take our minds off politics for a moment can at least bridge these particular gaps as well. I was talking to Frank Jerome some days ago, and I was saying that you have a privilege that no other individuals have. You can address issues of tribe indirectly. You can address the political tension indirectly. It's a huge responsibility, and we are so glad that we have got the right people at the helm, and we know that there's so much to look forward to. So make sure that you keep yourself posted with their socials very quickly. Your socials for people to maybe get the information quickly.
Yes, about socials. I'm not much of a social media person. If it wasn't my job, I wasn't going to be on social media. But I have a page.
Yes.
It's Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Just Jeremy. That's on Facebook, and on Instagram it's I am Jeremy.
Awesome.
Yes.
Frank?
Well, for me, I think it's just Frank Sibuku and A-list media films. Mpali, Mpali, Mpali page is always there. It's always active too.
Perfect, perfect. So make sure that you follow them, and trust me, there's so much entertainment coming your way. Join me next week as well when we bring you other guests that are going to be able to spice up the show. We want to ensure that we marry perhaps politics and some entertainment as well, so that you can detox from what is taking place in and around the country. My name is John Mark Lukonde. Thank you so much for joining me. Kudos to Eric, Philip, and the team behind the scenes. We'll meet next week.